1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, mother.
So, in my first Little Nightmares 2 theory video, I talked about the school and what I believe happened in the school before the events of the second game. Now, a bunch of you have commented, and I really enjoy going through the comments and reading all of your theories. Some agree with mine, some disagree, and I love all of the different opinions. This is one of the best things about Little Nightmares as a franchise, is that nothing is really truly confirmed. Everything is open to interpretation, and some of you agree with my interpretation, and some of you don't, and I love that discussion we're having down in the comments below. However, I have more evidence to back up some of the claims that I made in that video, and I'm going to go over that now, and I'm also going to debunk some of the debunking that happened in the comments in my previous video, because as much as I love people's different opinions, I do think a lot of people have tried to debunk one of the things that I said in that video, but haven't really given enough proper evidence to truly debunk that yet, and I have even more evidence to back up my theories from that video, which I'm going to display in this one. If it isn't already obvious, there's going to be massive spoilers in this video for Little Nightmares 1, the DLC, and Little Nightmares 2, so if you haven't played all of the games and you're worried about spoilers, I would honestly go play them before you watch this video, but then come back and let me know all of your juicy little theories. So the main one that I want to talk about from my first video is the theory that Six has been at the school before. Now, a bunch of people have tried to debunk this, and that's great. I love that you guys are coming up with your own theories and looking for clues. This is fantastic. However, a lot of the debunking doesn't really have a lot of weight, and I want to go through some of the main debunks that I've seen in the comments, and I just want to give my opinion on why those aren't necessarily correct. But as I said, I just want to reiterate just one more time, nothing is confirmed in these games. The only people that really know what's going on is the developers, and even then, we don't know if they have an overarching storyline between the whole franchise. They could just be making it up as they go along. I don't think that's true, but you never know. So, in the first video, I said that I believe Six has been in the school before. Now, one of the biggest pieces of evidence I gave for this was the fact that you could see these tally marks in this room where somebody has clearly been held, and then you could also see tally marks in Six's room in the Hunter's Island. Now, as some people have very correctly pointed out, this isn't the only time we see tally marks in the Little Nightmares 2 era. We see them in the comics too. Now, most people have pointed out that you see them in the hospital comic with the girl with the bloody nose, the girl with the pigtails, I don't know what she's called. I'm going to call her number 3 though, and we're going to come back to that later. But number 3 is in this hospital, and you see that she's in a cell, and she digs her way out with the spoon. Remember the spoon. We're coming back to the spoon. So she's digging her way out of the room, and she appears to be marking days on the wall with the spoon until she finally cracks through into the next room when she opens up, and then she sees the whole room is just full of tally marks. Now, we see that number 3 appears to get caught here and appears to die. We don't know, it's not confirmed, but it seems that way. However, if you look at this room here, it's clearly showing number 3 is not the only person who uses tally marks. Somebody else uses them. Now, this could be part of the whole time loop theory that a lot of people are talking about, which I have a slightly different take on, which I'm going to make a video as soon as I can, but I have a slightly different take. So it could be a time loop thing, but the reason why I don't think that this is a time loop is if it was a time loop, wouldn't the tunnel already have been dug, so she wouldn't need to dig it again? But there we go. It seems that somebody else is also doing tally marks. Now, this could be Six, this could be somebody else, but let's go back to the original room, which I claimed Six was held in. Now, if you look at this room again, you can see that there is a spoon on the floor. Somebody has clearly dug their way out of this wall, kind of like in The Great Escape. This does seem to point that this was actually number 3 that was held here, or does it? And this is where it gets a little bit complicated. If you look at this entire scene, we can see that this was clearly an escape attempt. Somebody in the last video tried to say that somebody actually broke into the school with the bed sheets, and I'm going to debunk that right now. But you can see here, somebody was in this room for an amount of time, and they dug out with the spoon. Now, once they escaped this room, if you go into the very next room, you see a bunch of beds that have bed sheets missing. Well, where did they go? Well, we know where they go. You can see them. They've been tied together, and that is how this person, whoever it was, managed to escape this room. Now, the person who escaped this room, if you follow the game backwards, the only way they could have really gone this way is towards the island. So I believe that the person who was trapped in this room made their way to the island, and we know that the pigtail girl, or number 3, she went to the hospital, which is the completely different direction. Now, I do want to caveat this by saying, obviously this is a game, and game has to go in a linear fashion because that's how video games work. It's entirely possible that the actual world isn't set up from left to right like the world that we see is. We're only seeing the video game version of it, so it is entirely possible that she did escape this way, and then she managed to make it to the hospital. But it still doesn't explain why there's somebody else doing tally marks in the room. Somebody's clearly putting those tally marks